All right, hello everybody. It's Coach Talon, your coach of the Atlanta Braves, bringing to you my draft analysis for the EWT, the Eon World Trophy, as I believe is the full name of it. I'm really excited to be a part of this league. Shout out to Otto for allowing me, and shout out to all the other coaches because they're all beautiful and wonderful people. Go check them out down in the description below before you forget. All right, do that now. And then come back, of course. Go check out everybody's draft analysis. They're all going up today. So, wow. I feel like I've made it, personally. I think I made it. Anyways, so, EWT, draft analysis. It's already on the thumbnail. I'm not even going to try to hide it. You already know what we got round one. However, we were the first pick of the overall draft. Your boy, first pick. You already know I had to go with Dragapol. Like, Dragapol is the best mon to pick round one. And if you say otherwise, you're probably saying Urshifu is the best pick, which, it's, debatable. I respect your opinion. However, Urshifu was banned in this league. Unfortunate, but granted, I probably wouldn't have drafted it anyways. I've used Urshifu before. Not that it's an underwhelming mon. It's a really good mon. I just wasn't feeling the vibes for this time around. I'm trying to get into the groove of drafting higher speed tier Pokemon, so that way I'm just not meddling in that low speed tier all the goddamn time, because that's something that I apparently love to fucking do. So, that being said, we had 120 points to draft. Also, Facecam, hi, hello. We have 120 points, or no, 110 points to draft 11 Pokemon, if I believe. I'm not mistaken. 11 Pokemon. And as we said, oh, I'm sorry, I hit my mic. As we said, round one, we went with Polt. Polt is arguably one of the best mons, if not the best mon, in the Draft League format as of lately. It is so powerful with 120 attack stat, that fast as fuck 142 speed stat, and even its special tank is threatening at base 100. This mon is fucking crazy. I think the only mon that outspeeds this mon would be like Zacian or something, and Zacian's banned. There's other mons, but they're not as good. For instance, like Ninjask. Ninjask, I'm fairly sure, outspeeds Dragapol by a couple of points. However, who the fuck is drafting Ninjask? Tell me. Not my bitch ass, for sure. I'm cussing so much. I'm so sorry. But anyways. And it gets a very good coverage of moves. It gets a very good, nice amount of mix for the special moves that it likes to run, like Draco Meteor, Shadow Ball, Hex, Flamethrower, Hydro Pump, Thunderbolt, Scald, it gets Thunder Wave. It gets almost all the fucking statuses. It gets Thunder Wave. It gets Will-O-Wisp. It has its signature move in Dragon Darts, which I think is just an amazing move. It has the broken ability of Infiltrator that made me lose my week 4 game of the UPPA. I think it was week 4. It might have been a different week. I'm not too sure. However, this mon just broken. Alright, this mon clicks a button, it gets in, it sets up a single Dragon Dance. I've seen it set up a single Dragon Dance in 6-0 turn 1. Shout out to Q the Costa Rican and his BBL match. That match was crazy. I've seen this mon put in the absolute amount of work. And I need a redemption arc with it ever since I used it in the IBA. I did not use it correctly. I used it so poorly. I hated how I used it. So, we have a redemption arc here. Expect Q to be shouted out in a couple of videos because he's giving me some sets. I might turn to Q if you're watching. I hope you don't mind. But this mon just clicks a button and something dies. It is so good. I'm really excited to use it. It gets amazing momentum with U-turn as well. I think fast Pokemon are always such great ways to just pivot out and do that sort of thing with. So that's all there is to be said about Dragapol. What more do you need to know? So, moving into my round 2. My round 2, you may expect, oh, it's Sylveon, because Sylveon's on the thumbnail. Psych, I lied. It's actually Cortana. So, Cortana is another fairly fast Pokemon, reaching the speed stat of 109. Base, obviously. It is Steel and Grass. 4 times weak to Fire, which is a very common type in most drafts. However, I don't care. I think this is a really good Pokemon. It gets access to things like knockoff, so it gives me a knockoff user. It gets, it's super strong. 181 attack. 181 attack. This thing is bopping so much. I refuse to believe it's not, I refuse to believe otherwise. It gets Calm Mind for whatever reason. I'd fuck with it. It gets Defog, so it gives me a Defogger. I actually am just now learning that as I'm looking at its move pool. It gets moves like Sacred Sword, but it gets fighting coverage. It gets Synthesis, so it has built-in recovery if I could ever get it off. But knowing Cortana, recovery is not really something you want to be clicking. It's great with running items like Choice Bands, Life Orbs, setting up a Swords Dance potentially. But other than that, I really haven't seen it do a whole lot. I think there's one set that I saw that was like, yo, that's pretty fire, but I don't really remember what it was. It gets Iron Defense to build up its defenses. Granted, it's really not going to matter. Cortana is definitely a glass cannon, I'd say, in my opinion, especially on the special side. You hit it with any special move, whether it be resisted or not, and it's going to do a fuck ton of damage. But it's okay because we have our switch-ins. We have our switch-ins, folks. Cortana, definitely going to be a late game cleaner, low-key. Late game, I could see Cortana being an early game, poke holes, break through the team. I could see it being late game cleaner with Dragapol. I think paired with Dragapol, it's actually really nice. Because Dragapol could come in, poke some holes in the beginning of the match. Cortana comes in, sweeps up the rest of the game. Or vice versa. Cortana comes in, takes early lives in the match. Dragapol comes in, cleans up late game. And I think we have such an amazing supportive Mon to go with the two of those. And that is the Mon that you saw in the thumbnail. Boom, we have Sylveon. I've used Sylveon in the past like twice. Excuse me. Sylveon is such a beautiful Pokemon. Oh my god, let me tell you. I would argue that it's the best evolution in Draft League format, and I think most people would agree. So this thing hits like a truck. It's the only what's it called? It's the only evolution that I've ever seen run in an offensive manner with like Calm Mind. I've seen it run Choice Specs. I've been tempted to run a Choice Scarf in the past to outspeed Haxorus and a couple of other mons on the team, but it really just wasn't worth it in the matchup. I didn't end up doing it, unfortunately. So like Calm Mind, broken ass set. I've 6-0'd with that set before. Maybe not 6-0'd, but you know, I did shit with it. Like it was real. It was there. Choice Specs does damage. Hyper Voice, beautiful. Mystical Fire, Psy Shock, Psychic. Beautiful mon. So, with that being said, it's more here to like be a little bit more defensive since I don't have that much defensive Pokemon. I actually have a decent amount, but other than that, it's mostly here to like, you know, just be able to switch in, throw up a Wish. It's a Wish Pasher as well. Like every fucking evolution is. It Wish Passes. It does good stuff. It's really good. It gets Wish Pass, Baton Pass. I think Baton Pass is allowed. I think you can Baton Pass as long as you're not Baton Passing stats. That's the only limitation I believe there is. So with that being said, I can Baton Pass. I can Wish Protect, Toxic. I can Draining Kiss, Recovery. Recovery is a big... Actually, no, I can't. It doesn't get Draining Kiss. Why doesn't it get Draining Kiss? Hashtag give Sylveon Draining Kiss. But you know, I've seen Calm Mind's Pixelate. Beautiful, beautiful ability. This is why Hyper Voice on Sylveon is actually so broken. Is because it gives that little boost. It's more powerful than a Moonblast at that point. So yeah, I'm really excited to use this mon. Definitely excited. I love substitute sets, sub Calm Mind sets. Sign me up, please. Like, so you can definitely see me running that eventually in a couple weeks. But yeah, that's really all there is to say about Sylveon. It's a Wish Passer. It does hella damage, and it's just an all-around great Pokemon. I'm really excited to use it. So, moving into our fourth pick, we grabbed Salazal. Salazal, another beautiful Pokemon. Sub, Toxic, Protect, need I say more? I've ran Choice Scarfed, I've ran Choice Specs as well. All of them put in work. I used Salazal back in the UPA, and now we have it here in the EWT, hopefully ready to put in an immense amount of work. I'm really excited to be using Salazal again. I think it's just a beautiful Pokemon. Manaya is back. So, with Corrosion, it's so good. like corrosion is such a good ability in my opinion because it can toxic those steel types and like fucking big ass threats like Heatran or other steel types that I can't think off the top of my head. Registeel. Those defensive mons are going to slowly get whittled down at each turn that they're in, which I think is just huge to the game because all you could have done in the past is burn them. You could have burned them and that would have been it. And where the fuck did my music go? Sorry. So all you could do is burn them, and burn them is the same amount of chip damage each time. You don't get any gradual damage, whereas with Salazal you can do that for those steel types, which I think is just beautiful. Like I said, Choice Specs is amazing. It has a really nice speed set as well. Like I said, I'm trying to get into the habit of drafting faster Pokemon. It has 117 speed stat, 111 special attack stat based, obviously. So slapping a Choice Specs on this is going to mean that it's going to be doing hella damage to most things. It loves clicking its Fire Blasts. It loves clicking its Sludge Waves. I've never really seen Salazal run a Sludge Bomb. But, you know, it could be a thing for all I know. So, who knows? I think personally Sludge Wave is better since you can get that 100% guarantee that you're landing Toxic since you are a Poison type after all. So you can't miss Toxic, which is one thing that I always really like about Poison types and drafting them, is that you get 100% accurate Toxics. I hate missing Toxic. I remember, oh my god, ever since I played Fox in UPBA, don't check out that match. I hate that match. I've always like, oh my god, clicking Toxic on anything that isn't, or like clicking Toxic with anything that isn't a Poison type scares me because I always think I'm gonna miss. So now having Salazal here, I don't have to worry about that because now I can never miss. So moving on into our round 5 pick. We have Araquanid. Dragapol with webs? Say less. Say less. This mon, let me tell you, webs, Scald. I've seen it run Leech Life. I've seen it run Lunge. I've seen it run Skitter Smack. Wait, no, it doesn't. It doesn't get that. Never mind. I must have seen it somewhere else then. Lunge could be good. Leech Life could be good. Bug Buzz could be good. Crunch could be good. I've seen it click Crunch a couple times. I've also seen it Mirror Coat. Don't know what the fuck that does. However, I've seen it, and JV, shout out to JV. I've seen it. I've seen him click it. He's clicked it a couple times, and it's worked out really well for him. So hopefully I can click it and it'll work out well for me. You obviously have to predict it to be like on a Toxic or on a Stealth Rocks. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully I can use it fairly decently, in my opinion. I think I might be able to. It can set up Light Screen and Reflect, which, well, not Light Screen, but Reflect, which is still really good, actually. But the main thing, it toxics as well. But the main thing, I think, is Sticky Webs. Sticky Webs is really big. I do have mons later on that you'll see that are, like, really do benefit from webs, like web control, obviously. Because they just hit in that middling speed tier where they're not like slow, but they're also not fast, you know, like 85 to 95 range. I think those mons definitely benefit the most when it comes to people using webs, because they can be fast enough to outspeed mons without it, but they could also be slow enough to underspeed mons without them as well. So it's just like they're definitely one of the best mons, I think, in that speed tier to be using web support like that. So, really, it's only here for webs, but it also Scalds, which is going to be really huge, because Scald burns, I love them. I don't get them often, but when I do, it makes me happy on the inside. So, moving into round 6, we got Heliolisk. Heliolisk is actually a mon that I've been wanting to use for a while. It doubles as our normal type, so it gives us a gross immunity, but it also doubles as our fast electric type Pokemon, with the base stat of 109. So, this thing is actually really powerful as well, with a base 109 special attacking stat as well. It has a water immunity as too. Yeah, because it has a water immunity in the form of the dry skin ability, which is really cool. This thing can click Thunderbolt, it can click Discharge, it can click Hyper Voice. Hyper Voice is actually pretty cool to click. It gets coverage for like those heavy ass, what is it called? ground types I want to be coming in with in the form of Grassnod. I've seen somebody with Helios predict a Seismitoad coming in and just straight up bop it, and it was the coolest thing to see. So I hope that one day I can do that as well. So speaking of which, there's a Seismitoad in our week 1 match. So this thing I think definitely is going to be putting in some work. It's fast, it's offensive, but I think it could also go a little bit on the defensive, not necessarily the defensive side relatively, but definitely more of like a backup kind of like, let's switch this in to scare something out type of mon, and click a couple buttons here and there. Other than that, I don't see it like being a win con or a late game cleaner. I mean, it very well could be, but that's just not what I'm aiming for when I picked it up. I'm aiming it for like let's poke a couple holes, let's take out a mon or two before I just sack this off to bring in something like Cortana or Polt, or to get the sub, to get the what is it called? The setup opportunity with like Sylveon, or even Cortana, like I said, with the Swords Dance and stuff. So that's essentially what this is here to do. Or even be able to get up the sub with Salazal and Toxic a couple of things with Sub Toxic Protect, because that set is good. So moving into our round 7 pick, we got Persian Alolan. This is a mon I've also been wanting to draft for a while. 115 speed stat. Like I said, this is definitely a very defensive mon. Its ability in Fur Coat, beautiful, beautiful. Raising its defensive, doubling its defenses. I think that's really cool. I used to think, I didn't know about its Fur Coat ability until like recent, actually, because I didn't understand how like it wasn't in the same tier as its original counterpart, because they get the same amount of moves, they have the same exact stats, they're just different colors and different typings as well. And I was like, why is Persian so bulky? Persian A is so bulky, but Persian isn't. And then I realized, oh wait, it's its ability. But it also gets really nice forms of momentum. It gets knockoff. Well, obviously not knockoff. It's not a form of momentum. However, it gets parting shot, which is the big one. I've seen this click parting shot on so many things. Clicking parting shots on things like Dracovish or I'm sorry, I can't speak. Galarian Darmanitan or even other things that are trying to set up. For instance, if they go for a bulk up, I can just parting shot my way out of there. And now they're only at +1 defense, and that's actually something that I can deal with because I don't like setup, and if they're only at +1 defense, I can find a way to work around that. So this is a really nice mon to just switch in, take a couple hits, then get out. Like I said, it knocks off. It can Toxic as well. It taunts. Taunts is a big thing. Taunting, making sure that those mons don't get up their stealth rocks. Beautiful. I love that for it. So I'm really glad that I picked it up. It's actually, like I said, a mon I've been wanting to use for a good while. So I'm really glad that I picked it up. I did want to prioritize it a little bit, which is why I'm grabbing something from 6 points so early, or just a tad earlier than some would assume that it gets picked. But it's whatever, because I think it's going to be doing some good damage. I think, well, not damage, but it's going to be doing some good things for the team. And I just didn't want to get taken from me before I was ready to draft it, because, you know, it's only 6 points, so some people might look at it and be like, it's a little but I know that also people also know about that it's like, it's a really good Pokemon. I know people know that. So I was just afraid that it was going to take it from me. So moving into round 8, we have Runerigas. This was one mon I didn't think was going to get taken from me, but I just think it was definitely more prioritized over the next 3 picks in my opinion. Runerigas gives me Stealth Rocks and Toxic Spikes. I need more hazards. I have Araquanid. That's it. So I wanted something that was purely here to be able to set those hazards with Toxic Spikes and Stealth Rocks. Stealth Rocks being the big one because I don't set a lot of hazards in the first place. But I just want to have that option just in case I ever need it. If Stealth Rocks look really good in a match, say they got like 5 weaknesses to Stealth Rocks, I'm going to be clicking them. So also my playlist just ended. Hold on. Let me restart it. So, with that being said, I can click. This thing is also with Poltergeist very useful to find out like other people's items, and that's huge. That's huge. Finding out other people's items is really nice. I think I will have to be aware of who I knock off and obviously things like that. But I've used Runerigus in the past. It's done some good things. It's a really defensive mon, so I'm really glad that I picked it up because I do need a little bit more bulk. A lot of my mons are kind of on the ish and the lower ish end of defenses, especially like Cortana, Salazal, Heliolisk a decent bit. Dragapol could take a couple hits. Like, you're so fast, you're going to be running a lot of HPs, like a lot of the time. So there's that for sure. But other than that, a lot of my mons are a little bit on the measly side of defenses. So I did want to be sure that I up them just a tad. And Runerigus does exactly that. So with that being said, round 9, who do we pick up? Skunk Tank. I kind of accidentally picked up Skunk Tank. I was under the impression that I got T-Spikes because I could have sworn I've seen a Skunk Tank throw them up. However, I was mistaken. It does not get T-Spikes. However, it does get Defog, which is something I need. I need a little bit more hazard removal. I have right now Cortana. And Cortana is, well, it's quite the how do I say? It's quite the mon. It's not the mon you're running Defog on. Let's just say that. So I may keep it around. I may not. We'll see. But this thing, can do a couple things. It gives me a grounded poison type, another one, to remove T-Spikes. It gives me defog, so I can remove other hazards as well. Like I said, it gets a decent amount of coverage in the forms of like Flamethrower. This thing, it gets Dark Pulse, it gets Toxic, it gets Shadow Ball. I could run Rest Sleep Talk like I could on literally every other mon, but you know what I mean. It gets Nasty Plot. I've seen it be offensive with Nasty Plot. It's a set in the damage calc. It's its main set in the damage calc, actually. But I've also seen this go on the defensive side, on both sides of defenses. I've seen it be specially defensive and physically defensive. More so physically defensive. However, I love running specially defensive mons on mons that just have a high stat in special defense. For instance, like Vaporeon. I've ran specially defensive Vaporeon. I've ran specially defensive Sylveon here. So it's not something that's out of the question. I don't know if, like I said, I don't know if I'm keeping this thing around, but we'll see for sure. So moving in to the second to last round, I wanted to grab Armando. Armando at 3 points. I've used Armando before. Really good, actually. I really enjoyed using it. It gives me another knockoff. It gives me Rapid Spin. It gives me Stealth Rocks as well. And I think it's just a very solid one overall. I've ran into no issues when using it. I think it's just fairly solid. It has really nice defensives. You're always going to be probably running heavy duty boots, but it's okay because it's useful. Unless, you do what I did with my battle against JV in the UPBA, and you bring Swift Swim because he has rain. That's it didn't pop off, unfortunately, but it's okay. Because it gets a decent amount of move. It gets priority in Aqua Jet. It gets Earthquake. It gets, like I said, Knockoff, Liquidation. It gets Rock Slide. It gets Rock Blast, which is really good. So I'm really excited to use this mon again. I think it's going to be very useful to the team. Because like I said, I'm trying to add on to the bulk just a tad bit more. So, moving on to our 11th pick. What could Scythe... Or why did I say Scythe? That's an old name. What could Talon grab at 8 points? Well, let me tell you what I could grab at 8 points. It's technically already on the screen. It's here. And you're probably thinking, you probably figured it out. It's Braviary. I picked up Braviary at 8 points. The first time I've ever actually picked up the mascot. But I've heard good things about it. It has a really nice attack stat at 123. It's gonna be clicking them Brave Birds. It's gonna be clicking them close combats, them U-turns. It's a really offensive mon. I've seen it like run Choice Scarf, Choice Ban. I know it can go on the defensive. Shout out to Shadow Stitch for that idea. It goes on the defensive for like Toxic, Heavy Duty Boots, Deep Roost, and Defog. So this mon could do basically everything. I'm really excited to use it. But other than that, I don't know if there's a lot to say. Like, it's really good offensively. It hits like a truck. But it could also go on the defensive, like I said. It does get a decent amount of setup, gets bulk up, so I could run, like, some what is it called? Some setup sets in the foreseeable future. We never know what the future holds. So, with that being said, I'm going to end it here. I'm really excited to be a part of this league. Shout out to Otto for allowing me in the league. I'm really excited. Um, Shout out to all the other coaches of the UPBA. Or UP, what? Why? I have UPBA in the mod. I have like drafted like 2 mons from it. Shout out to all the coaches of the EWT. I'm so sorry that I said EPBA. Shout out to all the coaches of the EWT. Be sure to go check them out down in the description below, along with all the other coaches. No, what the fuck? Be sure to go check them all out in the description below, because they're beautiful and wonderful people. Trust me, I know my outro. But that being said, I'm gonna get up on out of here. I have no reason to be here no more. So with that being said, I'm Coach Talon, your coach at Atlanta Braveers. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.